The idea of cycling highways is not new. It's actually more than 100 years old. But in the last 10 to 15 years, it has been gaining popularity like never before. While almost everyone agrees that cycling highways are a good idea, there's far less agreement on how exactly they should be built. From the F35 in the Netherlands, to London's Cycle Superhighways, to the Radschnellweg in Germany, every place takes a different approach. So the question is, who is doing it right? And is there even such a thing as the right way? In this video we will take a look at the upside, the downside and take a ride on some very different cycle highways. Welcome to Mobility Minded. One of the first modern cycle highways was the F35 in the Netherlands. Its first master plan, published in 2009, laid out many of the key design standards that would shape this and future cycling highways across the country. Among these standards were a minimum width of 4 meters in most cases, a maximum time delay of 15 seconds per kilometer, as well as a not further specified level of social safety. In addition, the plan established guidelines for gradients and for how these highways should connect to local cycling networks. All of these rules apply to fully separated cycle highways. However, where traffic volumes are low enough, the master plan also permits so-called bike streets, where cyclists and drivers are expected to share the road. Shared roads are far more common on London's so-called cycle superhighways. London was among the first cities to implement cycle highways on a large scale starting in 2010. But while the Netherlands adheres to strict design standards for this kind of infrastructure, London has taken a much looser approach. There are certainly sections with proper separated cycle tracks similar to those in the Netherlands, but that's not always the case. Especially in the early years, many stretches of the cycle superhighways consisted of nothing more than painted bike lanes. The contrast between the two countries becomes most evident at intersections. Dutch design standards strongly encourage giving cyclists priority at crossings, while in London the picture is far less consistent. What's more, London's routes tend to include a significantly higher number of intersections than their Dutch counterparts. From a design perspective, this is problematic. Intersections should be minimized wherever possible, as they create dangerous conflict points and lead to unnecessary delays. The main idea behind a cycle highway is simple: cutting down delays. On regular cycle paths, you run into intersections all the time, but on a cycle highway, there should be as few of them as possible, and cyclists should usually get priority. That way, the ride stays smooth and the average speed much higher. We'll take a look at how this works in the next example. But first, let's ask ourselves, what actually makes a good cycle highway? While the exact definition of a cycle highway can vary, the overall goals are usually the same. Based on different design standards and a bit of my own opinion, I came up with a few rules that, in my view, make a cycle highway truly good. Enough width so two cyclists can comfortably pass each other at any time. Separation from cars and pedestrians wherever it's needed. As few intersections as possible, and if there are some, cyclists should have priority. Smooth, high-quality pavement, clear signage and road markings, avoiding steep inclines, and of course, a high level of both safety and social security. From my view, these standards should be followed wherever possible. Too often though, cycling is still treated as an afterthought. Money that would easily be spent on car infrastructure is suddenly seen as unnecessary when it comes to bikes. That's why I decided to test some of Germany's cycle highways myself. So I am now able to tell you if they are good by my standard or if we should slander. Maybe it was great, just let me tell you my fate. This is the city of Stuttgart. And this is their brand new cycle highway. Installed just a few months ago, it's one of the latest additions to the city's cycling network. To actually get to the lane though, you first have to make it through this intersection, with traffic coming from 6 different directions and not a single bike lane in sight. Being here without a car really sucks. Just a few meters uphill, after squeezing through the 2-to-1 lane merge, the cycle highway finally begins. And honestly, it feels like the city decided to copy London's early approach, because the entire thing is basically just paint. It's honestly hard to find anything positive to say here. The way the path just ends by spilling directly onto the sidewalk really feels like the cherry on top. And despite there being a so-called cycle highway right next to it, I still saw plenty of cyclists choosing the sidewalk instead. Probably the only real positive thing I can say is that the lane is, at least, wide enough. But beyond that, there's not much to praise. Let's move on and see if we can find another cycle highway in the region that actually meets our standards. Luckily, the very first cycle highway in the German state of Baden-Württemberg is right at the edge of town. The section we'll be looking at runs for almost 5 kilometers, connecting Stuttgart with the neighboring city of Böblingen. It first opened in 2019, and earlier this year it even got a pretty impressive addition. But we'll come to that in a moment. The highway itself was built on top of an existing right-of-way. To make it suitable for cyclists, the heritage-protected cobblestone street was repaved, which sparked plenty of debate. But in my opinion, the end result was worth it. This is a clearly marked cycle highway, running through the forest with a minimum width of 4 meters. It's wide enough, provides shade on sunny days, and overall makes for a really pleasant ride. A separate lane for cars or pedestrians isn't needed here, since traffic volumes are so low. The signage is solid, and intersections are basically a non-issue out in the woods. Safety has also been considered, with lighting along the route that switches on automatically when movement is detected. All in all, this is a really well-designed cycle highway. The only drawback I noticed is that the route doesn't always avoid inclines as much as it could. At one point, the path dips down into the landscape before climbing back up again. With enough political will, this might have been avoided, by building an embankment, for example. But overall, I really like this cycle highway. And the best part is still to come. Get ready for the cycling bridge. Since the highway has to cross a busy country road here, the newest section was opened just this summer. And this bridge really brings together everything that makes a good cycle highway. The right-of-way is a full 5 meters wide. There's no need for pedestrian separation thanks to low foot traffic. But the pavement is smooth and the inclines are kept below 5%. It's the most elegant solution possible for avoiding a dangerous road crossing. And of course, just like on the previous section, the bridge comes with automatic lighting. Honestly, this is the first time in Germany I've seen a cycling project and immediately thought, wow, this looks so good, it could just as well be in the Netherlands. In my opinion, cycle highways play a key role in encouraging more people to choose the bike, especially for commuting. If designed appropriately, they can be a fantastic alternative to driving for short and medium distances. With the right design, cyclists don't have to worry about getting lost, squeezed out by traffic, or worse. We should see this as a huge opportunity to shift away from car dependency and treat cycling infrastructure not as an afterthought, but as a central part of the solution. At the same time, it's important to remember that no matter how impressive or shiny individual projects might be, what really matters is the overall network. And that is something we should never stop expanding.